Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos and on this video tonight I am going to be giving you some latest news regarding Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and these lots of other things to currently talk about. So according to recent reports, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer had an exclusive interview with Sky Sports to negotiate his roller coaster year at Manchester United. Obviously now a couple of days ago, it was his 1 year anniversary at the football club, and I do presume that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer now celebrated that. He also provided us with an update regarding Paul Pogba and Erling Haaland. Obviously, Erling Haaland is our main priority target for the January transfer window. Solskjaer did also say that he expects more inconsistency from Manchester United and that. But he said quite a few interesting stuff, during the interview. Obviously, he did say regarding Erling Haaland that he wasn't rooting to Manchester because there was reports emerging out recently saying that he boarded a plane from Norway to Manchester ahead of a January move to Manchester United. So he's actually dismissed speculation. He's also very convinced that Paul Pogba will not be sold in January in that. So that's what he said regarding them two players. Also, I've got to praise Solskjaer because he has given 10 former academy players their debuts, which is also very good news. Which is very good news. But Solskjaer did say that he does want more time at the football club, and I think Man United are determined to give him more time at the football club. We're going to give him at least a couple more windows. To see who else he can recommend in to the football club and that, because you can still quite frankly say Solskjaer is still in the process of rebuilding this Manchester United team, because obviously analysing the vast majority of this team at the moment, it is Jose Mourinho's and that, taking into account Jose Mourinho recommended 11 players to the football club, but definitely no more investment is needed in the squad, and our recruitment has definitely got to improve, and it isn't long now anywhere until the January transfer window opens. It's not that long now, so we're looking to sign a couple of players in January, and next year, we have got to address the deficiencies in the squad. That is very imperative in that. Obviously, we've got Watford tomorrow, 2 o'clock kick-off. Our 18th game of the Premier League season. So actually now we are nearly halfway through the season. If we do beat Watford tomorrow, it will be back-to-back away wins for the first time since February. So it indicates, how bad, we have been away from home. So obviously we've got to improve away from home. And, if we win tomorrow as well, or even draw, if we avoid defeat, it will be 7 games unbeaten in all competitions and that. And obviously, reflecting on today's results, obviously we've fallen lower down the table. We are now sitting 8th in the league. We still remain 4 points behind top four. Obviously, Chelsea also play Tottenham tomorrow, so we could, be only 1 point behind top four by the time Chelsea kick off against Tottenham. I'll give you some of the results today. Obviously, Everton drew 0-0 with Arsenal. Sheffield won 1-0 against Brighton. I think Southampton won at Villa 3-1. Man City, beat Leicester by 3-1. Obviously, Liverpool's game against West Ham got postponed because obviously, Liverpool, I think we're playing in the World Championship, and that obviously they won it by 1-0. But yeah, so what the other results are today? I think did Newcastle win today? If I'm right, I think Newcastle are actually level on points here with us now. They are level on points here with us now. So yeah. So hopefully, we can win tomorrow, and then I'm not taking anything for granted, because like I said, we haven't been good against lower opposition this season. We've been very poor mainly. We've done well against elite opposition. Like I said, we've beaten the likes of Leicester at home earlier on this season. we're beating Man City 2-1. You know, I've got to say, analysing it, that's the best game so far during Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's managerial career. You know, we're beating Tottenham, that was really, really good. We're beating Chelsea at the beginning of the season by 4-0. We drew with Liverpool, we're the only team this season to take many points from Liverpool and that. You know, so we've done well against elite opposition, but I think, you know, it's been totally comparison against lower opposition. So we've got to replicate against lower opposition what we've been doing against elite opposition. But I'm pretty confident, you know, we are going to win tomorrow. Like I said, you know, Watford have endured really, really difficult start to the season. They're obviously, you know, going to be fighting relegation this season, Watford. Obviously, you know, the bottom of the league. They've only registered 9 points from, you know, 17 league games. They've only won one game so far this season. Obviously, you know, they've just recently, you know, recommended, you know, Nigel Pearson in. He's actually, you know, their third manager, I think, this season. Because don't forget, not too long ago, Watford has sacked Sanchez Flores after less than 3 months in charge. You know. But yeah, I'm confident, you know, where we can win. And we've got a good record against Watford anywhere. You know, we beat them twice, 2-1 last season. You know, in the Premier League era, you know, we've beaten Watford 11 times out of 12. We've played them 12 times under the Premier League era, and we've beaten them 11 times. The time we lost to Watford was back in September 2016. We had lost by 3-1. But I thought Watford did well against Liverpool last week. I thought they dominated large periods of the game. You know, they had some good opportunities in that, but just weren't clinical enough in front of goals. So maybe if they can replicate what they did against Liverpool last week, then maybe, you know, they have got a chance of getting something off us. And you know, there's no excuse anywhere because, like I said, in the game against Colchester, you know, we rested quite a few key players in that. Obviously, you know, Basaka was rested, Lindelof was rested, McTominay and Fred were rested, so too was Daniel James and all that. And I presume, you know, they will all be playing tomorrow. Tomorrow. But you know, like I said, Solskjaer also, you know, recently spoke about the importance of us lifting trophies and that, you know, because we have lacked silverware in the last 6 or 7 years. And I think, you know, our only chance of any silverware this season is probably the Carabao Cup. Maybe the Europa League as well, because I think, you know, we are good enough to win the Europa League. But I think it's more imminent that we'll win the Carabao Cup. I think if we can beat Man City in the semi-final over the 2 legs, then I do believe we will win it. So we do need to get some silver on the board. But I think if we can get some silver on the board or even win the Carabao Cup, it will restart winning mentality at Manchester United. But one thing that's very imperative, we've got to get Champions League football, you know, secured for next season, so we can obviously attract players to the elite level. And there's 2 routes of us getting Champions League football, either finishing in the top 4 this season, or, you know, of course, winning the Europa League. And obviously, you know, we are into the knockout stages of the Europa League, because obviously, you know, we did win Group L. We have got games coming up thick and fast, as you all know. You know, Watford tomorrow, Newcastle on Boxing Day, you know, Newcastle on Boxing Day. Then 2 days after that, you know, it is Burnley. You know, then obviously, you know, we go to Arsenal on New Year's Day. Then obviously after that, it's Wolves in the FA Cup. You know, do you think, you know, analyse it, do you think we're good enough to win the FA Cup? Because analysing it last season, I thought we had a good run in the FA Cup. Obviously beating the likes of, you know, we're beating Reading 2-0 in the 3rd round. We're beating Arsenal in the 4th round 3-1. We're beating Chelsea in the 5th round 2-0. Obviously, we got knocked out by Wolves last season in the FA Cup. And obviously, you know, that's who we've got in, you know, the 3rd round of the FA Cup, you know, next year and that. You know, last time we won the FA Cup was back under the Louis van Gaal era. We beat Crystal Palace in the final by 2-1. Don't forget last season we was in the Champions League. We was in the Champions League last season. You know, we had that fantastic win against PSG. I think that's Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's most iconic, you know, moment as a Manchester United manager in that. You know, we were 2-0 down from the first leg, and then obviously, you know, we showed that determination to come back in the second leg and win by 3-1. Then obviously after that, you know, we got knocked out, by Barcelona, didn't we? Lost the first leg 1-0. And then obviously, lost the second leg by 3 goals to 0, if you do remember rightly. But yeah, so I've obviously, there's quite a few good games where what we've had good under Solskjaer. I think probably, the worst game we've had under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era is, probably the 4-0 defeat to Everton last season, back in April. Don't forget, after that particular game, Solskjaer had apologised. I think the biggest away win we've had is probably the game against Cardiff. That was actually, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first game in charge of the football club, and that. But yeah, so now Solskjaer, of course, is heading into his second season as a he's into his second year, now as a Manchester United manager. And I do believe he's got many expectations to exceed in that. So I think he's aware of that. I don't think he's the right manager to elevate Manchester United forward. Like I said, I've got some element of concerns about him. Like I've said, some aspects of me, do credit him. But I just don't think he's the right manager for Man United. I just don't think he's got a style of play. He doesn't really have a plan B, and he's been accountable, for some of our bad results and performances this season. He hasn't been accountable for all of it, but some of the blame does stem from him. And you've got to say, earlier on this season, he was tactically naive, but I've got to say recently we have showed a lot of tactical flexibility now, to be fair, but yes, we have in that, and I also think that Solskjaer hasn't got any intuition on how to manage a big club like Manchester United, despite the fact that he knows the traditions and that of the football club. He hasn't really got that pedigree in terms of management and that. You can, to be fair, he's a lot more. He's obviously got more managerial experience than Arteta. He hasn't got any managerial experience at all. He's just been appointed in as Arsenal's new manager. So obviously, this is his first time in management. He's at Arteta. So Solskjaer's totally comparison to Arteta. But like I said, I don't think he's good enough for Manchester United. But, I think reflecting on, our recent results and that, I think quite a lot of Manchester United fans' perceptions have changed regarding Solskjaer. Some do believe now he's the long-term solution for the club. Obviously, some of them do, and obviously you've still got some Man United fans demanding him out. But obviously, the likes of the board, Ed Woodward and Solskjaer himself, their perceptions and that are totally comparison to mine. And obviously, the players are willing to keep faith in him. But yeah, we do need to give Solskjaer time. Like I said, he's been here a year now. He's been a permanent manager for around 9 months. Obviously, he's endured a really difficult 9 months or so with Manchester United. We've had some good periods here and there, but it's been totally comparison to what I saw in that 3-month period when he was the interim manager. Because when he was interim manager in that 3-month period, we did really, really well. The results were good. The performances were good. He exceeded expectations and that. And obviously, my perceptions were different then regarding Solskjaer. Obviously, he won his first 8 games in charge. Won 14 out of his first 17 games in the Premier League. Won his first 14 out of 19 in all competitions. And obviously, that was enough to give him the job on a permanent basis. And I think that's one mistake, where we did make, was giving him the job on a full-time basis and that, he's on a 3-year contract worth around £7.5 million pounds a year. Obviously, if we do decide to sack him within this 3-year period, then obviously we'll have to pay something in compensation to get rid of him. I can't estimate how much we'd have to pay, but obviously we would have to pay something. But I'm very, very sceptical, that Manchester United, will sack him and that. But maybe if we, give him another 3, maybe 4 years, then some people believe, he can emulate into Alex Ferguson and that. I've got to say, I'm very sceptical about that. I can't see Solskjaer invoking Ferguson's legacy to save him at the football club. you know, I think regardless of who our manager is anywhere, I don't think we'll ever be the team that we was under Alex Ferguson and that. And don't forget, recently, Ferguson was discussing his, Manchester United legacy, take that into account. But don't forget, it took Ferguson, nearly it took Ferguson 4 years to win out when he got recommended in from Aberdeen back in 1984 and that. But obviously we know back in the old generation that managers did get the time that they would like. I know that Ferguson transformed Solskjaer into a winner and that, and Solskjaer flourished under his guidance, when he played for us for 11 years. But I just don't think, he's good enough to be manager. And, that's my perception on that. But when Solskjaer got recommended into the football club, he did confirm that everybody would get their chances, and obviously not everybody's being given their chances. He did confirm at the start of this season that all the young upcoming players would get given their chances, and the young upcoming players have been given their chances and that. And I do believe there's a lot of young upcoming players at Manchester United who will become a succession. I can assure Mason Greenwood will do really, really well. I think Solskjaer's got to start playing Mason Greenwood more on a regular basis, because he's only played one game from the start in the Premier League. He's obviously, it's been totally comparison like the Europa League and that, because he's been getting more opportunities in the Europa League games because he's been actually starting from the start in the Europa League games. But in the Premier League, Mason Greenwood has made a lot of substitute appearances. He is only the age of 18, so he has still got a lot of development in him. There's a lot of Man United fans demanding us, to drop Anthony Martial more and, play Mason Greenwood, because now we're starting to believe maybe that Mason Greenwood is a better solution. He can play as a number 9 just like Martial and Rashford can. But quite a few times we started Mason Greenwood on the right this season. But he has scored 17 goals for the football club anywhere this season. I think he's actually finishing replicates Robin van Persie's. Brandon Williams has done really, really well. We do view him as our first choice left back and that. He recently signed a new long-term contract. I've got to say, I think Tuan Zebe's done well in the games he's played in this season. I've also got to say that James Garner's done well in the games he's also played in. Don't get me wrong, I've got some element of concerns about some of the young players, so I think it would be beneficial if we could get rid of some of them next year. Because not obviously all of them are going to become a success at the football club. Solskjaer, of course, does want to continue recruiting young players next year into the club, despite the fact that he recommended young players in during the summer. And as it stands now, this present time, we have got a lot of young upcoming players in the squad. Like he said, I do also believe that these more players that need to leave Manchester United next year. My own perception on it, I think we need to get rid of another 4 or 5 more players. That's what I do think, because these are still problematic players at the football club, like I've said on my recent videos. But I think we need to see a variety of changes at the club, because I don't like the way the football club's been run anywhere in the last 6 or 7 years. And like I said, Ed Woodward's been accountable for that. I think also our board have been a liability for several years. So I think Ed Woodward, actually replicates the board. But I've got to say, I have seen improvements, in the last 6 games or so. I think, we've seen to be... I think aspects of our game have improved, recently, we've seen to be, creating chances. We've also scored more goals. I think certain players have rejuvenated themselves. Like I said, I've been very, very delighted with Marcus Rashford. He's obviously, always been a consistent starter anywhere since he broke into the senior squad and that. Obviously, he had a long bad spell. But I think, now his performances are totally comparison to how there was at the start of the season. Rashford is on 14 goals for Man United so far this season. And I've set a goal tally for him. I think he can score from between 25 to 30 this season if he is to keep this consistency up. Obviously, Rashford Rashford does predominantly know. Well, I don't think playing out wide is his predominant position. I think that central. That number 9 was his central position, but obviously, Martial had been given that number 9 at the start of the season because Martial does seem to be more effective in that central position. Martial probably predominantly plays out wide. But Rashford, like I said, very, very good player, can get good runs in behind. When he's on form, he can, you know, when he's on form, he can, have that finishing assets and that. His record against the top teams is very, very good, and he's in absolutely scintillating form. Rashford is not far away now from making 200 appearances for the football club, and he's obviously not on 59 goals for Man United and that. So credit him for his good performances. I've been impressed with the games that Anthony Martial's played in this season, because you've got to say. He gets good service, when he's playing up front. He gets a lot of service in that, and I think he helps the likes of Daniel James and Marcus Rashford in our attacking line and that. Martial's obviously sustained a few injuries this season. Don't forget, not too long ago he was out with a muscular problem. He was initially out with a hamstring injury earlier on in the season and that. But Martial's only at the age of 24. He's just recently turned 24 as Anthony Martial. But I think some aspects of Martial, do replicate Rashford in that. But yeah, they are two very, very good players, and I think they are two players that you can rely on. Obviously, Martial's had some bad spells at Man United. He had a bad spell under Mourinho. Obviously, don't forget, a while back there was a lot of speculation about him possibly leaving Man United, but I think that would have been a mistake from the club. Gotta say, I think Lingard has rejuvenated himself recently. I know he's been out with a knock recently, and he was out with an injury earlier on in the season. He wasn't performing to the standards as we should expect of him, Lingard, earlier on in the season. But I think recently he has been totally comparison that. So he should be, reflecting on the number of years he's been here, and in general anyway, reflecting on his status at the football club. Got to say, I think McTominay and Fred have blended in fantastically well in our midfield and that. Fred's rejuvenated himself recently. I've been very, very happy with Scott McTominay. But yeah, there has been a lot of good individual performances recently. Obviously, the 3 signings that Solsjaker recommended to the football club during the summer, you can say they've been our best players this season. We spent nearly £150 million on Daniel James and Wan-Bissaka and on Harry Maguire. And, they've all enjoyed fantastic starts to their Manchester United careers. Got to say, Daniel James has been a revelation. He's been a consistent starter this season. I didn't expect him to play as many games to the extent as he has done. He's played on the left. He's also played on the right because he can operate on each flank. But it's supposed to be more effective from that left-hand side. And Wan-Bissaka, he's been immense as Wan-Bissaka, and I think he will be our right back for the next decade. And I also believe that Harry Maguire, you can say he has addressed our defensive deficiencies in that. So I think, we've improved defensively. We've improved in that attacking third of the pitch. But next year, I think, the 2 priority areas is, that midfield and that attacking line. So I think, we need 2 midfielders. We need an attacking midfielder. We also need a defensive midfielder. I think, we also, like I said, need a right winger, and there's possibly no other areas in the squad as well that do need to be addressed in that. I think Solskjaer's going to get around 250 million spending spree. He's going to get a spending spree of 250 million, to rebuild the club and that. And, I can rely on Solskjaer, rebuilding the club, because anywhere he's looking to build a squad worthy the club's history and that. And we've got to get the right calibre players in, that can elevate us forward and get us back, get us back to being a competitive elite level football club. But like I said, £250 million, should be enough, to address the deficiencies in the squad. Should be enough for us, to get the right number of players in. But like I said, we have got a lot of players on our agenda. Yeah. We know that tomorrow, I don't think Paul Pogba is going to be playing tomorrow against Watford. It has recently confirmed that, Paul Pogba has travelled to Watford with Solsjaker and the rest of the squad, so he has been included in the squad, but I'm very sceptical, that he will be playing. Paul Pogba has just recently returned back to training. Solskjaer's confirmed this. He says, obviously, he hasn't been in training that long. He hasn't been back in training that long because, obviously, he's recently been out with an illness. So he missed a couple of days of training earlier on this week. I think this was prior to the Colchester game, was it? I think this illness occurred like a couple of days after his brother's wedding in France. He initially, was out with an ankle injury with Paul Pogba. Obviously, he was out for over 3 months. So he actually, hasn't been in action since September as Pogba. The last league game he did play was the 1-1 draw with Arsenal. And all that. But Solskjaer did confirm when he's back, he will get a lot of games under his belt, and he's hopeful that he will be back before the end of the year. And Solskjaer said, recently that he's got a charismatic, personality. He's a fantastic player because he got asked why he understands, the interest around Paul Pogba, because he has been subjected to a lot of transfer speculation and that. As Pogba. I don't think he'll go in January because Solskjaer's confirmed he won't leave in January. Well, he won't be sold in January, but I think that could be comparison in the summer because I think he will actually leave next summer. Or he'll leave at some time in the future if he doesn't leave next summer and that. Because during the summer he was relentlessly, linked to a move to Real Madrid. There was also talks about him possibly, making a return back to Juventus because he did endure 4 good years with Juventus and that. But I think before, there was speculation about him possibly, going to Barcelona. Paul Pogba's agent, Mini Raiola, he's come out recently and said that Paul Pogba wants to stay at Man United. This is stemming from Mini Raiola, and he wants to win prizes and that. But, he's said that, the club need to support him more. This is what, Mini Raiola has said. But Solskjaer knows how much of an imperative player he is. I've got to say, with his absence, I've got to say that Fred has fulfilled his position fantastically well and that. But we know the difference he does make in that midfield. But yeah, he won't be playing tomorrow, I don't think. Bailly and Fosu-Mensah have been back in training. This game's too soon for them, so I can't see them playing against Watford. Bailly's been out with a knee injury since pre-season. Fosu-Mensah has been out with a knee injury. Diego Dalot did play yesterday for the youngsters and that, and Solskjaer did say from then on, he will be ready because he's sustained quite a few injuries this season. So maybe Diego Dalot, could be involved in the game against Watford and that. But yeah, Rojo, I think he's out with a muscular injury. Is it until the new year? Because I think he sustained that injury during the international break. But we have had a lot of injuries this season. So in that aspect, Solskjaer has had to make alterations in the squad anyway. He's had to make alterations in the squad anyway and that. And yeah. So let's see, who Solskjaer can recommend in next year. But I've already, give you my overarching view regarding Erling Haaland and that. I think he's a very, very good player in that. A number of clubs have attracted their interest in him. Man United, Juventus, RB Leipzig, and Borussia Dortmund. I don't think it's certain yet, where he will be going. I updated you this morning, didn't I, saying, according to reports, his transfer to Man United in January is looking very, very imminent. Solskjaer, obviously, the other week, flew to Austria. So too did Ed Woodward, to negotiate, to meet up with him and negotiate a move to Man United and that. And reportedly he revealed that he wants to join Mulligan and Solskjaer at Manchester United. But recently, Fabrizio Romano, he said that Juventus, Dortmund, Man United and RB Leipzig have all placed bids in for him. Erling Haaland's going to cost us around, what, £76 million, but reportedly, he will have to be loaned back to Red Bull Salzburg for the remainder of the season, and all that. But yeah, so I think it's very imminent that we'll sign him in January. He'll be our first signing in January, our fourth signing overall under the Solsjaker era, and that, if reports are to be believed. But like I said, he reportedly flew to Manchester. He boarded the plane from Norway to Manchester. Solskjaer, of course, had denied this. So I don't really know, but Solskjaer recently said that actually, Erling Haaland has made a decision on his future. But he's a very, very good player. Like I said, he can bring more players into play. He's been a revelation this season for Salzburg. 28 goals in 22 games in all competitions. Obviously the beneficial thing as well, that he has played under Solskjaer's guidance during his period with Mould. So Solskjaer is keen on a reunion with the player. Solskjaer was the man that actually, gave me his debut, I think, at just the age of 16. And all that. But yeah, a very, very good player. I think it did say we may have to pay his agent, Mini Raiola, around £12 million to recommend him in. But yeah, so hopefully we can sign him in January. Solskjaer did recently say, though, that it's not actually assured that we'll do any transfer business in January, but I think it's very imperative because, we do have to do that. And if we can get the right players in next year, if we can get rid of more players who obviously, are no longer want at my football club, then I will be very, very happy. But I said, didn't I? I give you my overarching view on the 3 signings we brought in during the summer. I did say that was good because, it helps the growth and the development of this Man United team. And Solskjaer is inheriting a good squad, because there's a lot of good players in our team. Taking into account, the amount of money that's been invested into the football club over the years on recruiting new players in, and that. I think around, what, £600-700 million has been spent since the Ferguson era. We've also, got players on big contracts take into account. But we will see. So that's everything to update with. So the main part of this video, guys, was to give you the latest news, regarding Solskjaer and that. Like I said, he recently had an exclusive interview with Sky Sports, to negotiate his, 1-year roller coaster at Man United and that. And he's given his overarching view and all of it. And instead, he still expects more inconsistency, and obviously, and all that. And but yeah, so anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribing as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.